Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right, welcome to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching, robertlanecoaching.com. Pretty simple to remember. That's the website to find out what I do. If you are just tuning in for the first time and you're not familiar with what I actually do, I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I specialize in helping nonfiction authors turn their published book into an audiobook that they narrate. So if you are a nonfiction author, you have a great book that's out there, you wrote a memoir or a story, or maybe you're a coach or an educator or maybe even a poet or a children's book writer, and you have a great book that you've published, you, as the author, do need to narrate your own audiobook because, again, nobody can tell your story better than you. Nobody can speak your story the way that you intended it to be heard. So as an audiobook coach and producer, this is what I do. I have an audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice. And it's a 6-week program where I take you through the entire process of setting up your own recording space, because you can record your own audiobook and providing you, of course, with the equipment that you need. That's part of the program. And after you're set up, then we go over the fine art of how to do a great narration and how to be compelling and bringing the energy and emotion that you have in your written word, which is already there, and bringing it to life through your own voice. And then the next phase, of course, is making sure your audiobook is edited so it sounds clean and that it meets the exact specifications for publication, and then getting you published. And we publish you on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, of course, the AAA, I like to call it. And you need to be on those distribution platforms because most people go there to find their audiobooks. And when we do have our first initial conversation before you get enrolled in the program, we do talk about your marketing strategies and things that you want to do with your book and your author brand and your audiobook. And if you want to be distributed on other distribution platforms, we definitely help you with that as well. So that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. By the way, if you are interested in getting in touch with me, obviously you can go to robertlanecoaching.com. But the first step is a super simple one, and that is just to schedule a call with me and book a call, because I always talk to all authors before I enroll anybody into the program. It's just important that we establish a personal relationship, a business relationship from one human being to another, because it's really important to establish that. So just book a call. I have a graphic on the screen. You can see that there. But for those of you who may be listening to the audio-only version of the podcast, the link is this: bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That's bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. And book your call. All right. We'd love to talk with you, tell you more about the audiobook coaching program, and get you enrolled. The other thing that I want to do is let you know that for everybody who does go to the website or listens to the podcast, I have a freebie that I would love to have you download. It's a PDF download of some really cool information about how to do a great audiobook narration, how to be compelling. And it goes over not just the practical aspects of mic placement and that kind of thing, but also some tools and tips that you can utilize to really bring out the emotion and the energy and what makes you, right? The author brand of which you are. Everything about you comes out in your voice. So download this guide. It has some really, really good information in there. And again, the link is bit.ly/narration reference guide, okay, bit.ly/narration reference guide. Now, if you're tuning into the live podcast, because we do this live, this isn't pre-recorded, glad you're here. You are more than welcome to join in on the show. There's that phone number that you can see on the screen, which is 1-866-451-1451. Again, that's 866-451-1451. You're more than welcome to join in. And you can also comment in the chat as well. Now, our topic for today is something that I feel goes beyond just you as an author. And we're going to talk about how it does relate to, of course, creating your audiobook. But this is something that I think really applies to you in life in general. The topic of our podcast is, I believe. Do you really? It's about believing in yourself and believing in your abilities as an author and believing in what you do in life. Okay, so that's where it just goes beyond only the author brand and only about audiobooks, and you have to believe in yourself, of course, when you are narrating your own audiobook. Of course, you have to believe. And confidence is something that I do talk a lot about on the podcast, because you have to be confident in your voice. You have to love and embrace that wonderful sound that comes out of your body, because that is all part of your author brand. That's part of what makes you. It makes you so unique. But you really have to believe. You have to believe in yourself. And, again, I ask that question, do you really? And the reason why I ask that is because we all go through this. If you are an author, right, you're a published author, you are an entrepreneur. So number one, embrace that entrepreneurship. Embrace it, because that's such a wonderful thing. You are a professional. You're not a hobbyist. You've published a book, whether you write as a professional writer, and that's all you do, which is a great thing. Or maybe you wrote your book during nights and weekends because you have a day job. That's okay. You are still a professional writer and you are an entrepreneur. So embrace that entrepreneurship. That's really important, because you need to believe. Again, you need to believe in yourself and your abilities. Now, when you were writing your book, and I hear this a lot, and even with people who are and authors who are doing their audiobook, they sometimes fall into that imposter syndrome trap. And that does happen. Am I good enough? And do I really have what it takes to write this book? Or am I just like pretending that, or believing in something that I don't really believe is true, or not believing that I have what it takes to narrate my own audiobook? That does happen, and you need to change that mindset. You're not an imposter, okay? You are a writer. You are creative. People who are creative go through this all the time. The most famous writers go through this. The most famous musicians and artists and singers and painters and anybody who is creative, we all go through this. We all do. So believing in yourself is super, super important. You have to believe in your author brand. What is your author brand? Your author brand is everything that encompasses who you are. Everything from the way that you were brought up as a child, growing up, your experiences in life, everything that has made you into the unique person that you are. That's your author brand. That is your author brand. Now, what are your products? Of course, your audiobook, your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover. Those are your products. If you are a coach or an entrepreneur or an educator or teacher, and you offer a coaching service, or maybe you have a product that you offer, then that's all part of your author brand as well, and those are your products. So embrace your entrepreneurship, embrace your professionalism, and just embrace your author brand, because that is everything that encompasses who you are. All right. Now, something that I wanted to talk about that does fall into the category of really believing in yourself is that you have to put yourself out there in the world. All right. You need to do it, whether it's social media, email lists, doing speaking engagements, book signings, whatever it takes. You got to put yourself out there. You need the world to know that you exist. That's another great thing about having your book into an audiobook, because that does put you in a world, the audiobook world, that's growing and expanding all the time. So it definitely will boost your author brand and will get people to notice you and hopefully like what you do. All right. So getting out there is really important, because what you're doing, and this is kind of a coachy thing. I hear a lot of coaches say that, you got to, from a marketing standpoint, know, like, trust, know, like, and trust. You got people, you have to have people get to know you, and then they have to get to like you, and then they have to get to trust you. And then once they trust you, then you can get them, to buy your product or buy your service or buy your book or buy your audiobook. And that does take time, but it is important to do that. So when you do put yourself out there in the world via social media or however you do it, by promoting your book and your author brand and your audiobook, do it in a way that is coming from expressing yourself as one human being to another. Okay, that's really, really important. I was in a coaching program, and it was like, you got to go into all this, cold outreach. And cold outreach, for a lot of people really sucks. They don't like doing it. Some people love it, but a lot of people that I know, that that's not their thing. But it's like, oh, you got to go out into the DMs, and you got to message, on Instagram, a message on Facebook, a message here, a message there, on LinkedIn, and wherever else, and put yourself out there. The problem that I see with a lot of people who do that is that they're just very business, and they just go into somebody's direct message, and they just dump their product on them. I can get you 50 million likes. I can do this for your business. I can boost your YouTube viewership. I can do this. I can do that. And it'll cost you this and this and this and this. And they just like hard sell you. And that's not the way to do it. And even I've seen other authors kind of do the same thing of promoting their product or their business. And again, if they are coaches, they do the same thing. It's like, follow this formula and do this and that. It's more to it than that. That doesn't develop know, like, and trust. And, it got to a point where you just keep getting these messages. And I think actually it seems to have tapered off a little bit, because it was just so saturated that people were just like sending you message after message, and just the way it was done was just so impersonal. And you don't want to present yourself in an impersonal way, because that's not going to develop know, like, and trust. It's not going to develop someone to get to know you, because all they're seeing is that you're just promoting your business. You're promoting your product, and they're doing it in such a hard sell way that it just puts you off, and you don't even want to deal with them. So you just delete those messages. You don't want to put yourself out in the world that way. You do want to believe in yourself, of course. You believe in yourself, and you believe in your product, and you're passionate about your book. You're passionate about your story, and you want to share it, and you want to put yourself out there. And that is great, especially if you have other products or services that you offer. Yeah, absolutely. But you have to be human about it. Okay. You have to get people to know you as an author, but know you as a person, and share things that are important to you. And again, when I talk about you being an author and that everything about you encompasses who you are, that makes your author brand. Share some of that. Share some of the human aspects, okay? Because that's really important, and that does develop a connection. And it's really important, again, when you're narrating your own audiobook, that you're bringing that to the table, because that brings out your true authenticity. And your true authenticity is what establishes and brings out your uniqueness. And your uniqueness is what allows you to stand out in the crowd and get people to notice who you are, because we're all unique individuals. So that's what you need to focus on. We're going to take a quick break. I want to share with you a story, a couple of stories actually. One from my book that I published, and just something else that I saw on YouTube recently. So we're going to get to that in just a bit. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Again, I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. RobertLaneCoaching.com is my website, where you can find out more information about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. Again, if you want to participate, give us a call. That number's on the screen, and or you can go into the chat as well. All right, my friends, don't go away. We will be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And again, welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane, with Robert Lane Coaching. RobertLaneCoaching.com, again, is my website to find out more about the audiobook coaching program that I teach, helping nonfiction authors turning their great book into an audiobook that you, as the author, narrate. It's a great thing. Again, you can go to RobertLaneCoaching.com for that. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. By all means, would love to speak with you. If you would like to join in on the conversation, you can give us a call. Of course, the number is there on the screen, and that is 866-451-1451, or you can also comment in the chat as well. Our topic today is, I believe. Do you really? Believing in yourself, believing in who you are, and believing in your author brand is crucial to being a successful entrepreneur. And just believing in yourself, just in general, is what's going to make you successful. Now, I mentioned earlier about know, like, and trust. You have to get people to know you as a human being. And then once they do get to know you, they will start to like who you are, what you are doing, what you represent, what your book is about as an author, and maybe even be interested in your products. Again, if you are a coach or you offer a service or another product in addition to your book, then maybe that's where you can start building your business, because they're liking about what you do. And again, being out there on social media is a great way to put yourself out there as well. I did want to share with you a couple of stories, but before I do, again, I just wanted to mention that I do have a freebie that I wanted to give to you, which is an audiobook narration reference guide that can help you with some tools and techniques to get you to do a great audiobook narration. Because as an audiobook coach and producer, my job as a coach, of course, is to bring out your best. And these are some of the tools and techniques that I teach my clients who go through the program that really help them. So download this free guide. It is the Audiobook Narration Reference Guide. The link is bit.ly/narration reference guide. And of course, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com to grab your guide there. It's right there on the homepage. All right. So again, believing in yourself, confidence. There was something that I saw on YouTube the other day. It was an interview with a producer, Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin's a famous music producer. He has produced a billion bands and artists, lots of people he's produced. and from a variety of genres. It's not just rock, it's rap, it's country, it's you name it, and he's produced these artists, and he's a very well respected person in the music business. And I just happened to catch an interview that he had done a few months ago that was on YouTube. And he said something, or the way that he presented himself with in regards to artists in creating their music really was in exact alignment to what I teach my clients and the authors who go through my audiobook coaching program about being your authentic self. Because what he said was, the artists that are great and the ones that stick around are not the ones who follow trends, are not the ones who try to, jump on the viral video that's out there. Okay, that doesn't last. The artists that last are the ones who, forget about the rules, forget about wanting to sound like this person or this band or that band. They just do what they do. They are passionate about doing what they do. And that's all they do, right? They do what is authentically them, all right? Same thing when you're narrating your audiobook. You are bringing your unique author brand, your author style. That is who you are, that your uniqueness. That's what you're bringing to the table. And I just love the way he expressed it. He did it a lot better than what I'm telling you right now. But yeah, great interview, by the way. He's kind of a quirky dude, but he has some really, really brilliant ideas and thoughts, and really cool dude. I wish I could have him as my producer for my next album I decide to record and release. but again, being your authentic self really was the message. You don't have to follow the rules for this and that and the other to try to sound like this or do that. Be yourself, because that again is what allows you to stand out in the crowd. And when you just believe, again, I believe, that's our topic, I believe in what you do, believe in how you express yourself, believe in the way you write, believe in the way you talk, believe in the way you sound. Again, the way you write, ebook, paperback, hardcover, the way you speak, audiobook. That is who you are. That's what makes you unique. And again, that is what allows you to stand out in the crowd. Okay. Now, I wanted to share with you kind of a goofy story. It's one of the stories that's in my book, Lights, Action, You. And I wrote this book a couple years ago. When I started Robert Lane Coaching, I did start off as a career coach and life coach. And I still focus on that side of the business, though I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. I focus on my one-on-one coaching for authors and helping them do their audiobooks. But I still go out and I do speaking gigs and engagements for big corporations and small businesses and clubs and communities and that kind of thing all over the country. But talk about the career coaching and life coaching aspect, because I feel that part of what I did in my business is still viable and important to spread the word and help people from that aspect. So I still do that. But the book is about the 30 plus years that I worked in the entertainment business, and a lot of stories and experiences. So instead of just writing a memoir about working in the entertainment industry, I wanted to make it more valuable. So with each story that I share in this book, I have a tool or technique or a life lesson or something that I want to express that can help anybody who reads the book apply it to their life. And this, of course, applies again to you as an author, believing in yourself. So there was a story in here that, what was the, I forget what the chapter's, it's called Double Bag It. That's what it is, Double Bag It. And the story basically is about when I worked at Fox Studios. I worked for 20th Century Fox for almost 14 years. That was the last place I worked before I left the entertainment industry. But the story basically is there was a gym on the studio lot. And so where I worked, in the building that I worked in was on one end of the lot, and you had to walk all the way to the other end of the studio lot. It took about, 10 minutes or so to make that walk. Well, I would go to the gym 3-4 times a day, usually a week, a week, and do my workouts. And it was usually in the morning. Sometimes it was, during my lunch break. So I would go out there and I'd make this trek across the studio lot. Well, my gym bag was a double bagged brown paper bag. Not very exciting. Wasn't even a real gym bag. And my coworkers, they would tease me about it. Yeah, that's not even a real bag. And even people at the gym would make fun of my gym bag. And sometimes that would make me feel a little self-conscious, right? So there was something that I did, and this is what I wanted to share with you as something that you can do to help build confidence and believe in yourself and believe in what you do as an author or with anything that you do in life. And so the first thing I would tell myself is when I started to feel uncomfortable or embarrassed or whatever feelings that came up because I'm carrying this double bag brown paper bag as my gym bag instead of like a real gym bag, I would just stop and just say to myself, I don't care what other people think. All right. And I say it in a way that's not mean, not vindictive, just stating a fact. All right. I don't care what other people think. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people think. And then I would follow up with this. And this is the catchphrase. I am who I am. I do what I do. And I am not ashamed of it. I am who I am. I do what I do. And I'm not ashamed of it. And just doing that provided a confidence boost for me where I could just walk across that studio lot. I don't care what people thought of my double bagged brown paper bag gym bag. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter. And I was confident and I believed in myself. I had confidence in myself. And you know what? It's funny that eventually people, my coworkers, would bring brown paper bags to work and go, hey, look at this. I got you another gym bag. And they give me a brown paper bag. I'm like, all right, perfect. And then even people at the gym, they were like, that's really not such a bad idea. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I have a double bag brown paper bag. The paper bag is recyclable. So when it gets worn out or, starts to smell like gym clothes, no problem. Put it in recycling, grab a couple more brown paper bags, double bag it, new gym bag. What did it cost me? Nothing, right? People are paying $50, $100, $200 for these fancy gym bags. And then they get dirty, they get stinky. You can't get that gym smell out of it. And what do? They just throw it out, right? They can't use it anymore, can't recycle it. So it ended up being a really great thing. So I was proud of my double bagged brown paper bag gym bag because it worked. It worked for me. So really the moral of the story is, again, I am who I am. I do what I do and I'm not ashamed of it. So believe in yourself. And that also falls into a little bit of that category of imposter system. Imposter syndrome. Got to say that right. Imposter syndrome. So believe in who you are. You are who you are. You do what you do, and you're not ashamed of it. You wrote a great book. You put your blood, sweat, and tears, and money, and heart, and everything into writing a great nonfiction book that you published. Believe in it. Love it. And I know you do, because if you didn't believe in it, you wouldn't have published it in the first place. But I know as authors and any other creatives, we do go through the phase of, man, I don't know if I have what it takes to do this, but you do. And you carry on because being an entrepreneur is not a tough, it's a tough job. It's not an easy job to do, but being an entrepreneur takes tenacity. It takes resilience to do what you do as an author or just anything that you do. Anything that requires anything that's creative. It takes tenacity and it takes resilience, and you just have to stick to it. It's that age-old story of the miner who's digging for gold, and he's digging and digging and digging and digging, and he's not finding that vine of gold, and then he stops, and then and he gives up and walks away, and then another miner comes in and he digs maybe not even a foot more, and he strikes gold, and he finds this massive gold, this vine of gold that netted millions of dollars. Now, if that other miner didn't quit and just kept going and was tenacious and was resilient and just went a little bit more, he would have struck gold. So don't give up. Believe in yourself. All right. So when you ask that question, Do you really, or do I really believe in myself? The answer should be yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do believe in myself as an author, as an entrepreneur, as a professional, and especially when you're narrating your own audiobook. You got to believe in yourself. Again, believing, loving, embracing your voice. You have what it takes. Even if you don't have any speaking experience, that's okay. That's my job as a coach, is to help you and teach you how to do it. So just believe in yourself. Believe in everything that encompasses your author brand. Really, really important. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is don't be afraid to ask for help. There's another chapter in my book. It's called Help, I Need Somebody. Yes, that is a Beatles reference. First line of the Beatles song, Help. Help, I need somebody. But don't be afraid to ask for help. It's like when you wrote your book. If you self-published your book, and of course, obviously I self-published mine, and I wanted to do it right and do it right the first time and put together a great team of people to help me write the book because I wanted to have it the best quality that I can possibly do it, I did. So I asked for help. And you can definitely do that. And hopefully you did when you wrote your book. I want to touch on this a little bit more. We do have to take another break, but I do want to talk about asking for help and some of the things that I experienced. And maybe, again, if you want to share your experiences, you can call in or comment in the chat. We'd love to hear about your experiences as well. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. RobertLaneCoaching.com is my website, which talks about my audiobook coaching business. So check it out. We will be right back. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Appreciate you. Really appreciate you being here. Our topic today is I believe. Do you really? I know you do. We're talking about believing in yourself, having confidence in yourself as an author, in your author brand, and just in yourself in general, because it's important. This goes beyond just with your business and with your author brand. It definitely goes beyond that. We talked about know, like, and trust, putting yourself out there, but doing it from a humanistic standpoint and not just sell, or here's my book and this, and you don't talk about anything else because you don't give people an opportunity to know more about you. And I make this mistake too. I'm always focused on, the audiobook coaching business and getting the word out there and why it's so important to narrate your own audiobook as a nonfiction author and and I do all this, but then sometimes I forget to bring the human side and bring something that maybe has nothing to do with my coaching business, has nothing to do with audiobooks, and just share something about me as a person. And doing that, as you should do, really helps with that connection. It really helps connect with people because we're all human beings. We all have experiences. We have good and bad experiences, and sometimes it's good to share those things because it's like when you're trying to sell your product, it allows people to see you as just not just somebody who's just business, business, business. Is like, you know what? Here's a person who has experiences that I have experiences as well, and that's where you really develop a connection. So that's important. Now, before we took the break, we were talking about asking for help, and when you wrote your book, I mean, again, as I mentioned before the break, when I did my book, I self-published, and I hired a book coach because I knew that I needed to have somebody to help me and guide me on writing the book and getting it done and setting timelines and doing everything that I needed to do. And then, of course, I hired a book formatter, an editor, cover designer, all the other people that needed to be part of my team to help me create this book. Because again, I don't believe in cutting corners. I believe in doing the best that I can possibly do. You should have the same mindset as well. It's a very important mindset because you want to have your book. Here's your book that you self-published. Here's another book from a traditional publisher. And you're looking at these books side by side and you can't tell which one is which. And that's great. Because there was, a few years ago, there was the stigma of people who were self-publishing their book, and it was like, it's unprofessional, it's bad, this and that and the other. But you know what? Nowadays, that's not the case, and it hasn't been for actually quite a while. So that's a great accomplishment for authors like yourself who self-publish, because you can get your book out there, you put it out there, and nobody can even tell the difference whether it was done by a traditional publisher or if it was self-published. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. But to be able to do that, you need to ask for help. So when you published your book, did you ask for help? Did you hire a book coach? Did you get a proofreader or an editor or maybe someone to help you with story development, formatter, cover designer, all these little pieces of the puzzle that you need to create a great book? Did you do that? Curious, let me know. You can call or comment in the chat. Love to hear from you. I went through the process of doing that. Now, as a coach myself, as an audiobook coach and producer, helping authors turn their book into an audiobook that they narrate, it's a great thing. It's a great feeling for me to be able to give something back. My experiences of being an audio editor, audio has been my thing for years and years and years. So now I'm able to not only coach as a life coach and career coach, and I do bring some of that into the audiobook coaching part of what I do because it is important. Mindset is important, but also from the technical side of being an editor, a post-production editor that I've done for many, many years, and bringing that experience so that you're getting the best of the best. Because again, I don't believe in cutting corners. You can't cut corners. You have to do it right and do it right the first time. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Again, sharing something with you that I normally don't talk about is being a musician, being an artist. I've recorded a couple albums and put them out there in the world. And again, asking for help, very important. I had a really good friend of mine who was a session musician, great musician, who knew everybody in Los Angeles, where I was living at the time. I told him I wanted to record this album, and he put me in touch. I needed help, so he put me in touch with a couple of great musicians when I released my first album. And these guys, they were brothers, the Bissonette brothers is what I call them. Greg Bissonette, Matt Bissonette. They played on my album. Great session musicians, and they've played with mega famous people, so they are really great at what they do. And that made all the difference in creating and producing and releasing the album that I did, which actually did very well in Europe, of all places. It was very well received there. They love music, what can I say? So that was a really great accomplishment. But again, asking for help is something that I needed to do, and I wanted to work with the best musicians I can possibly work. So that's another aspect of what I do as a creative person. I still do editing, post-production editing for film. Just finished working on one where I did all the sound design and mixing of the movie that I worked on, and also scored the music for it too. So still have my hands in the entertainment world a little bit. But my main focus, of course, is helping you create a great audiobook. That's what I really love doing. But don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? If there are any barriers that are holding you back from moving forward, because remember, you are a brand, you are an author business, you're an entrepreneur. Don't let things stop you. And my other catchphrase I say all the time is, you are the CEO of you. So the decisions that you make as an author, they're up to you, right? You're the boss, okay? So you want to make great decisions. And the other catchphrase I throw out a lot is, action takers are success makers. So don't be afraid to take action, all right? Another thing that I've heard, I hear a lot from, coaching programs and all that is, you got to just take messy action this, messy action that. I'm not a big fan of that terminology, but I understand the concept. And basically what they're saying is, just go out there and take steps towards doing something for your product, your brand, your author brand, whatever it is. Take those steps. It may not be perfect, but at least you're moving forward. And if you do something and you fail miserably, and I have many experiences of doing that throughout my entrepreneurship, it's just lessons, my friends. It's just lessons to be learned. And that's okay. That's a great thing, actually, because, entrepreneurship, there's no one set path to do a certain thing. Just like as an author, there's a million ways to promote your book, right? There's all these different organizations. You can go advertising and go to BookBub or all these other clubs and groups and social media. There's just so many ways that you can approach doing what you need to do to promote yourself as an author and your author brand and your product. Well, there's no set way. So you just have to find your way. So again, as I say, I'm not a big fan of messy action. I just don't really care for that term, but I understand the concept, and the concept is important to just get out there, do what you do the best that you can do, don't cut corners, and if it's successful, awesome, keep doing it. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. You'll learn from that lesson, because there's always a lesson to be learned, and you figure out what did I do that worked and why didn't it work. When you figure that out, and it's like, okay, now I just need to maybe tweak what I do and go this direction instead, and that'll help you out, and then you are continuing to move forward. Remember, you're the CEO of you. The buck stops right here, my friends. You are the boss. You are the boss. So make some great decisions. If there are anything, if there's are things that are stopping you from moving forward, address it. Strip away the layers. Find out what it is. What's the root cause for you not doing something? Maybe you've published your book and you don't go out and you don't talk about it, or maybe you don't do book signings. Well, you should. I mean, you should do that, of course. But maybe you have a topic that can really help people. You have a story that can really help people. So share that story. Do speaking engagements. Get out there. But maybe there's a fear. I come across this a lot with authors that go through my audiobook coaching program. They do this. They pull a microphone in front of them and it freaks them out. Some people get freaked out. Some people don't. If it doesn't for you, that's awesome. If you have speaking experience, that's great. Now, just remember, recording your audiobook is a whole other mindset. It is different, okay? It's different than doing a speaking gig. But, but there are some techniques that you can still apply. But maybe there's a fear. So strip away the layers. Find out what is the root cause. What is stopping you from moving forward with your author brand or with your business or with anything that you're doing in your life? What is stopping you? Find that root cause. I do a thing that I talk about. It's another thing in my book that I talk about. I have a chapter that's called Fight, Flight, or Freeze. And it's about dealing with fear. And I'm going to share this with you. It's another Robert A. Lane catchphrase. And it goes like this: face it embrace it, purge it, replace it. And that it is the fear. Facing that fear. When you face your fear, basically what you're doing is you're stripping away the layers and just getting down to the root cause. What is it that is stopping you from, let's say doing a speaking gig, or maybe doing your audiobook, narrating your own audiobook. Maybe you have reservations about doing it. You're confident and you believe in yourself as a writer, but that confidence drops when it comes to narrating your audiobook. Why is that? Face your fear, okay? Face your fear, strip away the layers and get down to the root cause. Now, I want to talk about, the face and embrace it, purge it, replace it. We got the other three aspects of that that I want to share with you, but we do have to take one more quick break, and I'll share that with you. And then I do want to talk a little bit more about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program as well. So believe in yourself, right? I believe. Do you really? That's our topic today. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane, your host. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Again, appreciate you hanging out. Don't go away. I want to finish up on that whole conquering fear and breaking down barriers when we come back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Hey, my friends, welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Robert A. Lane here, your host. RobertLaneCoaching.com, by the way, if you want to find out more about my audiobook coaching program, which I'm going to talk a little bit about in just a couple of minutes. But I do want to wrap up the conquering your fear. Now, again, that catchphrase is face it, embrace it, purge it, replace it, right? If there's a barrier that's stopping you from moving forward with your author brand or just with anything that is not allowing you to do what you want to do, you got to break down those barriers and you have to conquer your fear. So again, the first thing is to face your fear, stripping away the layers, getting down to the root cause. The next is to embrace the fear, right? Acknowledging that it exists. And I don't like saying you got to confront your fears, because confront is part of confrontation, and confrontation is negative. We don't want to be negative. We want to embrace that fear. Okay. Yes, I acknowledge it. It's there. I get it. Now I'm going to purge it. And what purging means is moving it aside to allow positive things to replace that fear. And a lot of the positivity comes from affirmations, saying things that help you boost your confidence and help you believe in yourself. I am a great author. I'm a great speaker. I have a wonderful voice. I am not afraid to talk to people. I am not afraid to share my story. I have a great story to tell. I should be doing speaking engagements all over the country, whatever it takes, right? Bring in those positive affirmations. And that's the replacing part, right? Face it, embrace it, purge it, and then replace it with positivity and ingrain that into your subconscious so that you believe. All right. I believe. Remember, that is our topic for today. I believe. Do you really? Yes. A resounding yes is what you need to say, because you do believe in yourself. You believe in yourself as an author, in your author brand. You believe in your voice. You have what it takes to narrate an audiobook, to narrate your audiobook, because it needs to be in your unique voice, your unique style. Nobody can tell your story better than you. No one is more qualified than you to narrate your own audiobook. So this podcast, I know, has really been dealing a lot with the mindset aspect in regards to your author brand. And again, hopefully these are things that you can apply just to your life in general. But it's just really important because you have to be in the right frame of mind, especially when you're recording your audiobook. It's not just hitting record and just opening your book and reading, because then you're going to sound reedy and boring and monotone, and that's what you don't want. All right. So what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, again, my program is called Your Book, Your Voice. It's a 6-week program, and I take you through the process as a one-on-one coach through the process of helping you set up your own recording space, right? And that is really important because that frees you with eliminating the pressure of having to find a studio, recording your audiobook. Hopefully you're going to do a great job every time, but what if you don't? What if you're having a bad day? Having your own space is great because you can record on your own timeline. And I provide the professional equipment for you, professional microphone, professional headphones, everything that you need, and teach you how to set it up. That's part of the program. The next phase of the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program is showing you and guiding you and teaching you one-on-one how to do a compelling narration, how to keep your listener on the edge of their seat and engaged from opening credits to closing credits, loving what you're telling and expressing, how to bring that emotion, how to bring the energy, and most importantly, being consistent from beginning to end. You got to be consistent. And that's what I help you and teach you as your coach. The next phase, of course, as you're recording your audiobook, is having it cleaned up, edited, and made sure that it meets the exact specifications for publication. All right. And again, 22 plus years of experience of having my own audio post-production business is what you get. And so you have the experience, and I believe in not cutting corners because I listen to everything in real time and clean it up and make sure it meets the exact specs for publication on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Got to be on those 3 platforms. Got to be on those. And of course, again, why we talk before you even get enrolled is to find out if you want to be on other distribution platforms. We map that out for you. And the other great thing is that I'll do all the uploading for you. I upload your audio files for publication into those distribution platforms so you don't have to worry about it. And the great thing about us doing all the work is that there are no issues. You're 100% guaranteed to be published. You won't be rejected. I've seen that happen with authors, and it's a sad thing to see, but you will have a great audiobook. It's done right, and it's done properly the first time. And again, by the end of the 6-week program, you will have recorded and narrated and have your audiobook uploaded for publication. It's a great thing. And you know what? Great business move, right? Action takers are success makers. You are the CEO of you. That's a great business decision to turn your book into an audiobook that you narrate. Get out there in a market that needs to discover you as an author, okay? So again, the first step is just to book a call with me, all right? Just go to robertlanecoaching.com. You can check out the graphic that's on the screen right now, which is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That is my personal calendar. Book a call because I talk to every author before I enroll anybody. It's really important to talk to you. So bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. And again, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com. All the information is there. There are clips from other authors who've gone through the program. I like putting them up there because you can hear how they narrated their audiobook. And they're great. And none of these people are professional speakers. And remember, no one can tell your story better than you. Not another narrator, definitely not AI, all right? Don't cheapen your author brand. Don't do it. You've put too much hard work in developing and creating who you are as an author. You've put too much work in developing and creating your book. Put the same amount of energy and dedication into creating your audiobook. Don't cut that corner, because your audiobook is your voice, all right? Literally your voice. And that's such a crucial component of your author brand. And it's a great product to have, because people who buy audiobooks end up buying the ebook, paperback, and hardcover as well. I do it because I like to read along with the book, especially if it's a great book that has a lot of, terrific information. I'll go in there and I'll highlight and I'll do all these things. So it's a great way to boost revenue as well. And you know what? Creating an audiobook, again, just like with your book that you published as a nonfiction author, it's a great tax write-off as well. So the money that you invest into your book and in your audiobook, you can write it off, which is a great business move. All right. So just wanted to share that with you. Again, believe in yourself. That's the goal. Just believe in yourself, because you have what it takes to be a great author. You have a great author brand, and you have a great voice. Love your voice. Embrace your voice. And finally, my friends, I always end my show this way, and it's just an important thing that when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, maybe give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. Maybe they're having a bad day, and even just you smiling and saying hello can make them feel good about themselves, and maybe have them believe in themselves. All right? So be good humans. Thank you so much, my friends. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane, robertlanecoaching.com. Go to it, book your call, grab your free narration reference guide. It's all there on the homepage. We'll be talking to you next week, my friends. Have a great week.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.